Welcome to the tip channel. That is perfection.
We're back today to try out the Hercules 6-inch forced rotation dual action polisher. First step, however, is we need to get this car clean. This is a 1996 BMW Z3. It does have some scars on it, but it is the original paint, so we're going to try to make this old girl sparkle once again. We have completed washing the car, and we were as careful as possible to remove as much tar, bug guts, those types of things from the paint. However, the car is still not clean. We're not yet ready to start polishing. The next step is that we're going to use clay on the surface of the car. Now, what does the clay do? The clay is going to remove any overspray, tree sap, bird droppings, fallout, all the contaminants on top of the painted surface, if you will. We want to do this process so once we go into the polishing process, we're not going to have any of those contaminants left on the painted surface. I went to Harbor Freight and purchased a MEGUIAR'S clay kit. Now, the MEGUIAR'S clay kit comes with 3 clay bars. It comes with a quick detailer and a microfiber cloth. Now, if I weren't going to do the polishing next with the DA, I probably would go ahead and use the detailer, because what we want to do is we want to lubricate the surface as we're claying. We don't want to do a dry surface. Instead of using the quick detailer, I have mixed up a soap and water solution, only because I don't want any chemicals left on the painted surface whenever I start the polishing process. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, and getting ready to start the clay process, what I've done is I've torn one of the clay bars in two. And actually those 3 clay bars are going to do a lot of cars. But I've kneaded it, meaning just I've sort of spread it out like doing some bread dough, something like that. I've made it so that it fits very comfortable to my fingers on the hand. Now, as I go through and do this process, as I notice that it becomes a little bit dirty, what I'll do is I'll take and fold the clay bar over and knead it out again. And I got a brand new piece of clay to start over. And we're going to spray the area down. Be very generous. And we're going to take the clay and we're going to do back and forth motions. We don't want to do swirls, because if we were to pick up a contaminant, we don't want to do a swirl mark in our painted finish. So just basically very lightly, you don't have to press real hard. We're taking the clay, moving it back and forth. And as I'm doing this, I can actually see some contaminants running off of the car. So it's really getting sort of a deep down clean. Now, I don't know whether any of you guys have ever wet sanded a car, but it's almost like that on a much finer basis. Now we're ready to proceed on to the next step. And we're going to find out what this Hercules 8-amp, 6-inch, forced rotation, dual action polisher will do. Now I went to Harbor Freight and I picked up 4 different pads. This is made by a company called Bauer, and it comes in coarse, medium, fine, and ultra fine. So we'll be using these pads today on the Hercules. And we'll also be using a MEGUIAR'S product, again I picked up at Harbor Freight. So basically you take your pad, lay it upside down, take your hook and loop on the Hercules, and place it on that, and we're ready to go in regards to putting the pad on. Next up, we want to saturate the pad. And what does that mean? We want to get it really soaked with the product, and then as we start applying this, we'll actually just do an X. But first we want to get this good and saturated. And we're going to work that into the pad. that's Wendell. He's going to be giving us a hand today. It's going to be a movie star, he said. I don't know whether you guys can pick up on this or not, but I'm going to try to do my best to hit this in just the right light so they can see that this hood, at one time or another, somebody used perhaps a towel with some grit in it or something. Perhaps they were waxing, had some grit in their pad. But we are just about ready to start the polishing process. And for our first step, we're going to be using a MEGUIAR'S mirror glaze number 110. And again, the chart is all the way up to an extra heavy cut. This is going to be our first step in our polishing process. A few things to get started with. I absolutely hate it when somebody grabs a tool like a circular saw and just puts as much pressure on it and pushes that saw through the pieces of wood just as fast as they possibly can. A tool is made to do a job. Let the tool do the job. Now, as you're holding this, that's all you're doing. You're holding it. There's no need to put any pressure on. The machine itself will do its job. Your main thing is to try to keep that pad flat against the car and keep it moving. We're going to start out using the compound. We're going to be doing cutting. So basically, whenever we're cutting, we're going to do 4 passes, left to right, and then up and down, left to right again, and then up and down. So basically 4 passes. As you do each pass, you want to do a 50% overlap. So in other words, half of your lap that you just did, you want to overlap that so you make sure that you're getting all the spots. Now, in using the cutting MEGUIAR'S product, we are going to move very slowly, number 1, and we're going to work in about a 2x2 area. Now, we're going to start by putting 5 dots on our pad. Now, this will be about the size of a marker, if you will, a little bigger than a pencil, but 5 dots will get us started. And what we want to do is that we're going to go ahead and press down in that 2-foot area. And we want to spread the product. So we want to start on number 1, and we'll use that to spread it very quickly. And then we'll actually start to do the cutting action. Okay, we've spread it. So now we're going to go ahead and step up to 4. Now we've completed that area, and what we want to do is go ahead and wipe the compound off. We do not want this to dry. And as we can see, the MEGUIAR'S product, 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% Wipes off fairly easy. We've just finished our first step on machine polishing this car. We're about 2 hours in. Yes, we're actually doing the entire car. I don't understand how somebody can give a fair review of product doing half a hood. So we're going to see how this entire car turns out. The first step, we have used the MEGUIAR'S Mirror Glaze 110. And what this has done is taken out any scratches, any minor scratches and swirl marks. Also sort of flattened the paint. So now that we're ready to step to the polishing process. Now for the polishing, we're going to use MEGUIAR'S number 210. And you can see in regards to the cut, it's only about 3.5. So this will be a lot lighter in regards to cutting in. Now what we do want to be careful of is keeping in mind that the heavier cut had a lot more abrasives in it. So we don't want to cross-contaminate and get those abrasives into our polish. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with a brand new towel. And now we're moving to a finer pad on our DA. So we're going to, on this time, we don't have to prime the pad. What we're actually going to do is we're just going to do a X on the pad. Now, the first time that we went through, we did a 2 foot by 2 foot area. Now we're going to double that. We're going to do a 2 foot by 4 foot area, and we're not going to spend as much time going back and forth. We'll be moving a little bit faster. Again, we want to be flat against the paint. Go back down to 1. All right, now instead of going up to 4, 4.5, we're going to step down between 3 and 3.5 for polishing. That's speed of rotation on your dowel. We just finished polishing the car with the MEGUIAR'S 210 Ultra Pro finishing polish. And we've got a nice shine going on the car. So now we want to protect that shine. Now that went a little bit quicker for us. We're at about 1.5 hours doing the polish. But before we actually start doing the wax, what we want to do is wipe the entire car down. What we're after is to remove all of the compound so that we get a good adhesion between the wax and the car's paint. Now, I can use the fancy name if you want me to, but it's basically rubbing alcohol. What we're looking for is that we're going to mix 40% alcohol, 60% water, and wipe the entire car down to get that compound out. And we're going to spray the entire car down, one panel at a time, and wipe off any excess compound that may have been left on the car. We have finished the alcohol wipe down of the car, and now we're ready to go to the final step, which is waxing. And for the waxing, we're going to use a MEGUIAR'S 26 high-tech yellow wax. Now, as you remember, when we used the compound, we did a 2 foot by 2 foot area, and then when we went on to the polish, we doubled that. We went into a 4 foot by a 2 foot by 4 foot area. Now, with the wax, which isn't opened, now with the wax, this X will actually double again. In other words, we'll be able to cover about a 4 foot by 4 foot area, or basically that's about the entire center portion of this car. Now we're only using this to spread, so we're going to use one. And we'll spread this.
Once the wax is dried to a haze, take a soft microfiber towel and simply wipe it right off. I don't know about you guys, but in the old days, some of the wax was so tough to get off. But look at this MEGUIAR'S, it's coming off with ease. How did the job turn out? You be the judge. This 27-year-old BMW, original paint, shining like a brand new penny. I love the product so well that I decided to do my work van. Now my work van is 21 years old. My friends at Franklin's Auto Body put a paint job on about 8 years ago. But this product has made it look brand new.
Our final review of Harbor Freight's Hercules 8 amp dual rotation 6-inch polisher. I spent 6 hours with this in my hand doing the BMW. I spent 2 full days with this in my hand doing that van. And that entire time, that 8 amp motor never even got warm to the touch. Next time I'm just going to do a half a hood video. That was a lot of work, but it did turn out. The product from MEGUIAR'S, the clay, the compound, the polish, the wax. If you'll notice, the product is marked professional. It gave us a professional result. Overall review of all of the products that I purchased from Harbor Freight to do the detailing on those 2 vehicles. That is perfection. What? It ain't cocky if you back it up. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you much, and have a great day.